Very recently when I was traveling to Uttarakhand, it's really amazing to spot these mountain goats climbing, almost doing things that are impossible, and I cannot forget that imagery. So I knew that we should start this film with the amazing mountain goat and doing this very acrobatic jump at the edge of the mountain. One of our films, Save Our Species, which was made in 2020, had received a lot of worldwide recognition. After this, a film festival called Equinox Mountain Film Festival had really appreciated the film Save Our Species, and they had awarded it with the best animation film for the festival. They had approached me and they wanted us to contribute to something for this edition of the film festival. So that's how we came up with this concept of using sand animation to tell a small story about mountain animals. The branding of Equinox Mountain Film Festival has its title against the mountainscape. Ultimately, whatever we did, we wanted to arrive at that mountainscape. So we thought that the ending of a short film should always be grand. And that is when we decided to have this golden eagle, which we would have in a close-up with all its details, and then it would fly away into the horizon of the mountainscape. And that's where we could introduce this title of Equinox Mountain Film Festival. We didn't want to repeat ourselves with certain creatures, even with activities, so we tried to find a variety of creatures. We had a frog, we had fish, and we had bears and a snow leopard, and we selected all these animals so that the whole combination of them would be very interesting. We didn't follow a storyboard for this particular class, although that is highly recommended when working with an animation film. But we have this overall theme, and we wanted to let things just emerge, and once we finish one shot, then we'll figure out how to introduce the next species and the next shot. For sound design, something tribal, because our film is all about mountain and soil and things like that. So we wanted some sort of tribal drum as the base. We also wanted some aspect of an Indian instrument. So we introduced something similar to a sitar, so that it has an identity that this particular film is produced in India. That was something that we wanted.
In the very first semester, we had a course in sound design, and where we learned the software named Ableton. So basically, I've been using the principles and things we learned there, and I'm currently applying those in the GarageBand to get the vibe of a very tribal music using the instruments available here.
I think all of these aspects all add value to a particular artwork, and everyone's contribution in small ways, and that's the beauty of working in a group and in a team.
We had to work with a lot of people. The whole class was there, and although the room was a bit small and all of us worked on it together, I had a lot of fun working with my classmates.
I always thought animation was a very singular person job, but in a sense, working as a team on the same frame would be really hard to do simultaneously. But I learned that it would actually make it a lot easier when you do it as a team for these kind of projects.
One key thing I learned was patience. It is hard to sit down and work on something every day unless you have an inner motivation to do it.
You realize, like, we used to work from like 9 in the morning to like 5, and sometimes it would go beyond 5, it would go like to like 6 or 7, and then we would only get like 4 to 5 seconds of like actual result, and you kind of realize that not everybody will be able to understand all the work you put in. It's like it's a lot of time that you put into it.
I feel like sand as a medium has so much potential. The fact that these small grains of sand could be used to make larger images, and that they could be put together to create a seamless animation, it's mind-boggling.
Even though sand is not much of an interesting medium to work with, when we turned off the lights and turned on the light box, it had a very interesting quality to it. and how the texture of it gave a wonderful look and feel to the movie.
I loved watching the final film and seeing 19 kids and one professor just working together and making a small film after a whole week of work. I felt very proud of our class. It felt very exhilarating to see things we spent hours and hours on to actually make it to a screen.
The idea behind this kind of an approach to teaching is that the students also get to see a live project happening, and then hopefully it will excite some of them to consider taking up this medium or animation as a profession in the future. So to summarize, it's the art of movements, and that's really important and pivotal to think about when it comes to animation. Everyone contributes to one small aspect, and then we get an amalgamation of it as the final outcome.